As you've probably noticed from the tables that we've been using, related data is split across multiple tables. The staff table, for example, contains things like the department number, while the actual name of the department is only found within the actual departments table. This is the core idea behind relational databases. Similar data is grouped together into tables of their own and given a unique ID number, and the ID number is then used in other tables to refer to that data, rather than duplicating all of the data every time you want to use it. You just duplicate the ID number. We can, however, use the data out of these two tables by joining them together, so that our results make more sense to humans. If you worked in this restaurant, for example, it's unlikely that you would tell someone that you worked in department number 30. It's much more likely that you would tell them that you worked in the service department. This is called joining tables, which is what we're going to look at now. So let's output a list of all of the data in the staff table, but also the name of the department that each member of staff works for, not just the number of that department. So we do this just by another select statement. But we also join the department table. And we also add in a where clause. And we say staff department number is equal to department number. And if we run this query now, you can see that the department number from the staff table matches up to the department number in the department table, and we're then obviously able to identify the specific department name. If we wanted to, we could of course select the specific names of the fields that we want to output, and we may want to omit the department number from both tables completely. We could, for example, just output the staff number, the surname, and the department name from the department table. Now, as you can see here, we've prefixed the actual fields with the name of the table that they come from. It is possible to run this exact same query without, for example, the staff number or the staff in front of the staff surname, because those fields only exist in one of the tables. But if you wanted to output the department number as well, you'll get an error, because there's two fields that the table is looking at now called department number, one in the staff table and one in the department table. In this instance, it turns out that they are both the exact same value, but SQL doesn't know that. SQL just sees a conflict and it won't run the query if there is a conflict. We can also use joins to actually join the tables together in order to perform validation. So for example, we can find the salary grade for each employee. So I'll just delete all of this. So we're going to output the surname, the staff number, the salary, and we're also going to use this table, the salary range table, and we're going to output the salary low value, the salary high value, and the grade. But we're going to calculate the grades from where the member of staff salary fits within these scales. So I'll just go ahead and type this now. So staff surname, staff and you can see here that we're just going to list the actual tables that we're going to use as an actual list, a comma separated list. We're not going to use the join command in this instance, because the usage of the word join can be omitted from your table if you know what you're doing with your join statement. In this instance, we're not using it to actually join two tables together. We're using it to compare data from one table to another and then output a result. So we're going to say where the salary is between the low salary and high salary. And we're going to order this by grade. So now that you can see, we've got all of the salary grades from each member of staff, and we can see that, for example, the salary for Jones is 5,000, which is between the range of 3001 to 9999, and therefore their grade is 5. And the same applies to all of the other members of staff. So in the first instance, we were just using the join statement to literally connect two tables together based on a keyword. In that case, it was the actual department ID. Whereas in this instance, we're connecting two tables together to perform validation. And that validation is then part of the output that we're displaying. And the final point before we end this video is the fact that we could technically put the low salary, the high salary and the grade into the actual staff table. But if we did that, we would end up duplicating that detail a lot for every single member of staff. When we start to talk about database architecture later on, you'll see that it's a best idea to try and separate the data that you actually store within the database out into as many small pieces as possible, while still making sense with each part. So in the salary range table, we only have information specific to the salary range, and from the information within that table, coupled with the information in the staff table, we're actually able to determine the grades for each member of staff. This means that we don't need to manually manage this data as closely. If someone was promoted, we would just need to change their salary, and the actual grade would take care of itself. And reducing these overheads in this way makes our table much more usable in the long term, because we obviously don't need to manage it as closely.